Hey, Fanboy Nation.
This is your pal Daffy Duck, and you're watching.
We're watching. You're watching
Fanboy,
etc.
Fanboy Nation.
Dot, I assume Tom.
Coming to the Newport Beach Film Festival for any baseball fan that also loves international relations, we are talking to Yuriko Gamo Romer for her documentary, Diamond Diplomacy. It is great to chat with you about this documentary.
Thank you for having me.
Not too many people realize that there's a 150 plus year relation between Japan and the United States via the sport of baseball. That might be something that people might be interested in learning, because prior to, everyone thought it just showed up in Japan post World War II.
Yeah, it's surprising how few people actually know how long it's been in Japan.
With Shohei Ohtani being here in Southern California, first with the Angels and now with the Dodgers, it was always interesting when he took the mound, because people would fly over from Japan just to watch him play. And the fact that people turned it into a 2-day vacation to fly, 12, 13 hours just to get to Southern California to watch one game was surprising, of the love that the Japanese fans have, not only for their countrymen, but for the sport itself.
Yeah, Japan is big time into baseball.
What is the draw itself to what's considered the American pastime that's become so beloved in Japan?
Well, if you watch the film, you will learn that around 1896, at the turn of the century, when the Meiji Restoration was going on, there was a whole movement to get Western education into Japan. And there was a particular teacher that came in that happened to bring a bat and a ball with them. So this is credited back to 1872. But in 1896, there was a very special game where an American team played a Japanese team, and the Japanese team won very handily. And I think that was the moment when they thought, oh, well, maybe we can actually compete in this game. And I think it was also a moment in history when they were sort of establishing a place in the world. And so there were some other sort of thoughts about how they could compete economically and in the world order. And I think that time it was also a game that was very welcomed in Japan, because they didn't really have team sports there yet. And Japan is a very team-oriented culture. And so they basically just fell in love with baseball. And I mean, I get it. It's a fun game. It's fun to play. It's fun to watch. So it became a national pastime in Japan, and they really took it on, and they are very much baseball fans still today. Well, obviously, flying many thousands of miles to come watch Ohtani play.
Right. So my background isn't baseball. I announced college and minor league baseball.
Okay.
But I wasn't a player. My background is actually wrestling and judo. So your previous documentary of Mrs. Judo would have been a great tie-in as well. But what was your fascination with the team aspect of this? Because, I'm so used to, judo itself, and then we have sumo, which is an individual sport. And then, karate is its own thing that came from Okinawa into mainland Japan as more individual combat sport, or at least they evolved into combat sports. From that individuality to these, team-orientated sports, how important was that for the cultural shift? Because, not everybody realized the camaraderie that in working together and building together.
Well, so if you go into Japanese culture and you look at a school system or a company or the government, it's very, very team oriented. So there's some terminology. There's a word called wa, which really means harmony or peace. And one of the things that drives Japanese culture is sort of the how can you live in harmony? How can you live day to day and support each other and live peacefully? And so that kind of being the underlying thing of the culture when you think about baseball, it's a team sport. And if you don't play as a team, it doesn't work out that well. I mean, sometimes it's more exciting to watch people swinging for the fences and getting home runs. But as you probably know, the more you swing for the fences, the more you're going to strike out. So it's not exactly the best strategy for winning a team sport. Whereas in Japan, the idea of a team working together and going together for a common goal was something that was very attractive. And I think it just sort of took on partly because of that.
Yeah. As we continue to, well, the world seems to be getting smaller in some instances, in the fact that, the borders are becoming smaller. We get to see other cultures and other ideologies that become so important and permeate around, individuals and customs, that we've become more integrated, and it's become far more cultural appreciation, instead of the, derogatory ideology of cultural appropriation. When we see this international camaraderie, whether it would be the Olympics or the World Series or any other aspect when it comes to professional baseball, what is something that you learn about yourself as a filmmaker in seeing those tie-ins that cross these international borders?
Well, I think that, and this is true for myself in terms of if I travel across the oceans internationally and I meet people, there's always this wonderful awakening of, wow, this is a whole different world, but we have so much in common. And then, you really enjoy sort of learning about their music, their culture, their food. You get to eat somebody else's cuisine, and although it's very different than what we might be used to from day to day, it's a way to experience what somebody else experiences on another side of the planet. And I find that that's also true. I mean, I've always loved the Olympics because it's sort of watching all these people from all over the world coming together and competing. And obviously they're competing hard. I mean, you're out there trying to win for yourself and for your country. But I think there's something sort of even bigger that happens, which is that you meet people and you learn something about another culture. And when you do that, your world expands. And I think there is something magical about sports and how it brings people together. It's what I call people to people diplomacy. It's a chance for the people on the ground to create the connections between the countries, not necessarily the ambassadors and the governments. It's the people to people.
One thing I've thoroughly enjoyed with your documentary, even though it's just shy of 90 minutes, which is very hard to whittle down 150 plus years in less than 90 minutes, is that you find the balance of using interview footage, photographs from that era, because obviously it wasn't video documents at the time, and animation, and making the three flow together. And that's sometimes not the easiest thing to do, especially for audiences that aren't familiar with what's going on internationally or historically.
Well, the hard part about doing a historical documentary is that you can't go out and just film the events because they happened, 100 years ago or 150 years ago or sometimes 200 years ago. So, you have to be creative about how you tell the story, but you also want people to get a feeling of what it actually was like back then. So it's like a big treasure hunt. We're always looking for old photographs, old footage. And then I, of course, discovered that a lot of the historical subjects were covered in these woodblock prints that were very popular in Japan, especially around the turn of the century. The turn of the 18th to 19th century, since we've already had another turn of the century. So the idea is to find as much as you can that does the best job of telling the stories. And then it's a matter of editing and using music. And yeah, I found that the animation was a way that you could kind of integrate different different types of art and photography and footage. And it's tricky, but it's also very fun because I think it's a fun way to put together a story.
I'm doing my best not to give away spoilers because we want people to come out to Newport Beach Film Festival to see it. This is the 26th annual Newport Beach Film Festival, and you have the rare honor of 3 screenings for your documentary. Yeah. When you find out, not only are you getting into, because sometimes it's very difficult to get into festivals, but not only are you in this festival, now you have 3 screenings. How much pride is that in there? And I don't want to use pride because pride can often have a negative connotation, but how much excitement is there when you sit there and go, wow, they give us 3 different nights to present our film?
It's very exciting. And actually, I don't know if you know this, but I grew up down there in Corona del Mar. So I went to Corona del Mar High School. So I'm hoping a lot of my friends from back then and also now will come and see. Yeah, it's very exciting that they have decided that it's worthy of 3 nights of I'll be down there for 2 of the screenings,
So this is your homecoming, essentially.
sort of.
Yeah. Now, the people that you didn't like, let's hope that they show up. So it's kind of like sticking it to them that we didn't like each other when we were kids, and now here you are for my doc.
Oh, well, I hope I don't have any stories like that, but I hope that, people that remember me and people that don't remember me can come to the film.
No, it's a fantastic documentary. I love what you've been able to do. Yuriko is a Japanese name, so I presume that you have Japanese ancestry in this regard. Was that part of the reason why you wanted to tell the baseball connection, or did you play softball, or what is your relation to the sport itself?
All of the above.
Okay.
I can't pretend that I was any good at softball, but I did play. But really, the story started because I have a friend who lives up here in Northern California, but his father was Con Dempsey, the pitcher for the Seals, that you saw some of that home movie footage from the 1949 tour. And I was invited to a museum exhibit about that tour, and I was just kind of wowed by it. I thought, wow, this is amazing. That after the war, during the Allied occupation, General MacArthur decides to send the San Francisco Seals to Japan as a goodwill gesture. And because there had already been so much history and connection with baseball in Japan, they were just ready to have something come and lift their spirits. And baseball was the thing that sort of helped out. And again, it's the people to people diplomacy. It was like the baseball players coming into Japan at a time when the country was devastated and it was war torn and the people were hungry. And it was something that came and raised their spirits. And I thought that was a beautiful story. And I thought, well, how wonderful that a sport can do something like this. And so once I heard that story, I thought, oh, I'll make a little film about this. And then I started opening history books and doing research and understood that the history was much longer and much older and much deeper than just this one story.
And that just opens up a whole new world to everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. As we get closer to the film festival, this is, you're going to be here for 2 of the 3 nights. We're going to enjoy seeing you in person. What's something you would like audiences to learn and take away from this documentary specifically?
Well, I suppose just as people, I hope that people see that all the experiences that they can gain in their life, where they get to meet people from other countries and other cultures, are going to do something magical to their own lives. And I think that we all experience that even from day to day, just watching movies and eating food and meeting people. But if you have a chance to go travel somewhere, explore it and learn something about the people. And that even though we have big differences sometimes, and maybe this is something that I'd love to see more of in our own country. It's like maybe we have big differences, but basically we're really the same, and we have so much in common, maybe so much more in common than people are even willing to understand and accept. And so if you can see that part of it and expand that, then I think we will have more wa in the world, more harmony in the world. And I would love that to be a subtle takeaway.
Well, I hope that's one of the big takeaways from the documentary, especially coming to Newport Beach. Um, you, a little bit about Japanese baseball, since I'm not familiar with their rule set. Is it identical to the U.S. rule set? Are there, because, you know, stolen bases didn't show up in America up until probably like the 20s or 30s, or I mean, like 30s or 40s, especially because it came from the Negro League. Designated hitter, which was American League versus National League, where the pitcher at one point had to bat. And now it became an international rule. Well, not an international rule, but you know, across both divisions for Major League Baseball, the designated hitters there. What are some of the different rule sets between Japanese baseball and American baseball?
Well, I think generally the rules are the same. The diamond is the same. But there's sort of subtle differences in the way they play. And I think one of the things is the thing that we were talking about earlier about the team. There are just not as many home run hitters in Japan as there are here. And I think part of that has to do with maybe strength and size of players. But I think part of it is about a mindset, you know, because there is a much bigger sort of strategy of team oriented. So some of the things that they do, like there's a whole lot more. Oh, well, they keep statistics on things that the American baseball would never do. You know, so like, you know, there's a bunting statistic, but you know, nobody does that here because bunting only gets pulled out when they absolutely need to. So there's little things like that that are different. I mean, there's also things about the games, like if it's not a deciding matchup game, if the time ends and the score is tied, they'll still end the game. Now, if it's a playoff game or something, they're gonna keep playing or whatever. But so that's a surprising thing because nobody here would think of, you know, baseball ending the baseball game with a tie score. So
They're like, we hit our 9 innings. Good luck. We're done.
yeah. And someone told me that it has something to do with the train schedules. And I don't know if this is true or not, but if 80% of the people that are at the game are depending on public transportation and the trains stop at a certain time, yeah, you got to keep that in mind, I think.
Well, never let the truth interfere with a good story. So I kind of like that train schedule aspect to it. Yeah. All right. So playoffs are starting. We have to ask the question, who do you have going to the World Series?
Well, being a Giants fan, we no longer are in the postseason. So I don't know. My husband is from Cincinnati, and so he, as a kid, he was a big time Reds fan. So I think I should root for the Reds.
Okay.
But I can't help but root a little bit for all the Japanese players. So
No confirmation bias there whatsoever. I have a coffee bean size hope for Detroit.
okay.
You know, I think the Tigers have been playing exceptionally well last season and this season. They're on that upward trajectory and they're due.
Okay.
So we're gonna go with Detroit for that one. Yeah. Yuriko, we're excited for you coming home. Newport Beach Film Festival 26th anniversary, Diamond Diplomacy. First screening is Friday, October 17th at 5:15 p.m. at Triangle Cinemas. Saturday the 18th at 8:15 at the Lot, and then Tuesday the 21st at 5 p.m. also at the Lot. It's been a great pleasure chatting with you. Where can we find you on social media to continue the conversation about Diamond Diplomacy?
You can do Diamond Diplomacy in Instagram, and you can also find it in Facebook, and I think that's about it. Oh, LinkedIn maybe, but Diamond Diplomacy. And there's a website too, diamonddiplomacy.com.
Perfect. Again, Diamond Diplomacy coming to the 26th annual Newport Beach Film Festival. First showing Friday, October 27th, and you got 2 more chances if you missed that. Again, thank you so much.
Oh, it's October 17th.
October 17th. Thank you. Festival starts on the 16th. So 17th, 18th, and 21st. Those are the 3 dates. And
Great.
thank you for the correction. I really appreciate it. And it was great chatting with you.
Great chatting with you too. Thank you for having me on.